Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Steuben County Library. Welcome to Library Connections, our weekly readers, viewers, and listeners advisory video cast. Enjoy. Library Connections number 42, hosted by SSCL librarian Linda Reimer. This is the Friday, February 19th, 2021 edition of Library Connections. Jumping right in with the top 5 fiction bestsellers of the week from the New York Times. At number 1, The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. As dust storms roll during the Great Depression, Elsa must choose between saving the family and farm or heading west. At number 2, Faithless in Death by J.D. Robb, the 52nd book of the In Death series. Eve Dallas investigates the murder of a young sculptor in the West Village. At number 3, Firefly Lane, also by Kristen Hanna. She's having a good week, but I digress. About the book Firefly Lane, a friendship between two women in the Pacific Northwest endures for more than 3 decades. The book is the basis for a new Netflix series. At number 4, Reckless Road by Christine Feehan, the 5th book in the Torpedo Inc. series. One of the motorcycle club's members needs a second chance after thinking an intimate encounter was just a dream. And at number 5, The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, the 1st book in the Bridgerton series. Daphne Bridgerton's reputation soars when she colludes with the Duke of Hastings, the basis of the Netflix series Bridgerton. Moving on to the top 5 nonfiction bestsellers for this week. At number 1, Walk in My Combat Boots by James Patterson and Matt Eversman with Chris Mooney, a collection of interviews with troops who fought overseas. At number 2, Just As I Am by Cicely Tyson with Michelle Bruford. The late iconic actress describes how she worked to change perceptions of Black women through her career choices. At number 3, Think Again by Adam Grant, an examination of the cognitive skills of rethinking and unlearning that could be used to adapt to a rapidly changing world. At number 4, A Promised Land by Barack Obama. In the first volume of his presidential memoirs, Barack Obama offers personal reflections on his formative years and pivotal moments through his first term. And rounding out the top 5, 400 Souls, edited by Ibram Kendi and Keisha Blaine, a compendium featuring 90 writers covering 400 years of African American history. And I would also have to add, I would say that is 400 years of American history too, but again, I am digressing. Our first recommended read for this week is the new Margaret Mizushima book, Hanging Falls. A canine cop seeks to solve the case of a dead body in the woods so she can take time off to investigate the mysteries of her own family. Maddie Cobb is finally stepping aside from her role as deputy and the human part of Timber Creek's only canine team to connect with relatives she thought she'd lost many years before. Her sister Julia and her grandmother have plans to welcome Maddie with open arms, if only she can get away for a few days. But those plans are put on ice when Maddie and her friend Glenna come upon a body whilst jogging at Hanging Falls. Robo, Maddie's German Shepherd partner, is needed to search the Colorado forests, so Maddie puts off her visit to find out who could have killed what appears to be an out-of-towner and then dumped him in the water. While Maddie keeps their shift from friendship to full-on romance private, she's happy to have the help of Cole Walker on the case. Not only is Cole an adept vet whose knowledge is helpful in considering the possible role a horse tranquilizer played in the death, but his calm confidence steadies Maddie when she's overwhelmed by emotions. A childhood of trauma and then foster care with Mama T has made Maddie slow to trust, and her police training has given her lingering questions about what really happened to split up her family. The sooner she solves the case of the body in the woods, the sooner she can reunite with Julia and her grandmother to ask the hard questions about her own life. An imperfect heroine and her beloved sidekick, what's not to like? And that is the Kirkus review of our first recommended read of the week. So here is the Timber Creek Canine Mystery Series reading list. The first book, should you wish to start at the beginning, is called Killing Trail. Our second recommended read for this week is historical fiction with several dashes of fantasy thrown in for good measure. This is the first book in a series. It's called The Watchmaker's Daughter by C.J. Archer. London, 1890. India Steele is desperate. Her father is dead. Her fiancé took her inheritance, and no one will employ her, despite years working for her watchmaker father. Indeed, the other London watchmakers seem frightened of her. Alone, poor, and at the end of her tether, India takes employment with the only person who'll accept her, an enigmatic and mysterious man from America. A man who possesses a strange watch that rejuvenates him when he's ill. Matthew Glass must find a particular watchmaker, but he won't tell India why any old one won't do, nor will he tell her what he does back home and how he can afford to stay in a house in one of London's best streets. So when she reads about an American outlaw known as the Dark Rider arriving in England, she suspects Mr. Glass is the fugitive. When danger comes to their door, she's certain of it. But if she notifies the authorities, she'll find herself unemployed and homeless again, and she will have betrayed the man who saved her life. With a cast of quirky characters, an intriguing mystery, and a dash of romance, The Watchmaker's Daughter is the start of a thrilling new historical fantasy series from multi-USA Today bestselling author C.J. Archer. And here is the Glass and Steel series reading list. As you can see, The Watchmaker's Daughter is the first book of 12 to date. Our first audiobook recommendation for this week, and when I say our first, it is occurring to me as I'm recording this, what I really mean is it's like having a conversation. I'm thinking of being around a virtual table with people and talking about our first recommendation for this week amongst all of us chatting at a virtual table. Clearly, this is a title I have selected, so perhaps I should phrase it the first audiobook recommendation of the week or my first audiobook recommendation of the week, but I guess I'll ponder that and work on that for the next edition of Library Connections because I'm digressing. I want to recommend a really fun, cozy murder mystery with a lot of quirky characters. And it's set during the holiday season, so maybe we could pretend it's December for the weekend or the next week until we've finished reading or listening to this. And then we can fast forward through to spring, if only we could. But anyway, this is quirky and fun, so I've digressed too much. Let me get back to the book, Murder on a Midnight Clear, written by Sarah Rosette and read by Elizabeth Klett. A snowbound country mansion, a missing butler, and a Christmas case. Olive and Jasper have never been closer, except for one thing. Jasper is still reticent about his frequent disappearances from polite society. With the holidays approaching and no paying client on the books, Olive decides to shadow Jasper when he's unexpectedly called away. Her search brings her to Holly Hill Lodge, where an eclectic group has gathered to celebrate an old-fashioned English Christmas. The guest list includes a celebrated lawn tennis champion, a fussy scientist studying snowflakes, a persuasive luggage salesman, a famous lady traveler, and the family's eccentric aunt, who has a fondness for the newfangled drinks called cocktails. When the butler goes missing, Olive and Jasper must work together to solve the Christmas crime as well as the secret Jasper hides. Murder on a Midnight Clear is the latest installment in USA Today bestselling author Sarah Rosette's popular High Society Lady Detective series. Unwrap this 1920s Christmas mystery with all the trimmings, carols, a Yule log, plum pudding, and murder. And it is indeed the sixth book in the series, so if you'd like to start with the first book in the High Society Lady Detective series, it's called Murder at Archley Manor. Our second audiobook recommendation for this week is historical fiction. It's called Under the Tulip Tree, written by Michelle Shockley and read by Sarah Zimmerman. The Leland family's fortunes fell with the stock market crash in 1929, and sheltered teenager Lorna Leland must go to work to support her family. Out of desperation, she accepts a job in Nashville, interviewing individuals who were formerly enslaved for the Federal Writers Project. Her first interviewee is Frankie Washington, a spry, 101-year-old who has vivid memories of growing up enslaved and of the Civil War that set her free. As they meet in Frankie's tiny house in a less than desirable part of town known as Hell's Acres, Lorna's eyes are opened to the injustice of slavery and to the still present racial divide in her own time and place. The more the old black woman and the young white woman talk, the more each understands about the other's experience and her own. Verdict. Shockley beautifully unveils Frankie's past while developing Lorna's awareness of inequality. Though set years ago, this title resonates today as many struggle with the same issues and questions of racial reconciliation. With its haunting message of forgiveness, this is a must-buy for any Christian or historical fiction collection, and that is the Library Journal review. Our first streaming recommendation for this week is the film Julie and Julia from 2009, available now through Netflix. This breezy, busy comedy drama from Nora Ephron is an adaptation of two books, one by Julie Powell, a blogger who attempted to work her way through all the recipes in Julia Child's influential Mastering the Art of French Cooking, and the other by Child, a memoir she wrote with Alex Prudhomme, which details the development of those recipes. The juxtaposition is ingenious, giving the viewer two funny and mouth-watering movies for the price of one, and the performances, particularly by Streep as Child, Adams as Powell, and Toosey as Child's devoted husband Paul, are first-rate. If you're in the mood for more rom-com, Netflix is also streaming My Best Friend's Wedding, and that review is by Jason Bailey for the New York Times. Our second streaming recommendation for this week is the film Patterson from 2016. It's available to stream through Amazon Prime Video. He gets up every morning, writes a line or two of poetry in his journal, goes to work, drives his bus, writes a bit more during his lunch hour. He drives more, goes home, has dinner with his wife, writes a few more lines, walks the dog to his favorite bar, has a beer, goes home, goes to bed, and then starts it all over again the next day. Over the course of this wistful and lovely low-key dramedy from Jim Jarmusch, Patterson does not seek success, discovery, or even publication. That's not why he writes. It's about routine and release. Above all, Patterson is a Valentine to all of those who create art not to make a living, but to sustain their souls in the meantime. Our critic called it a wonderful new dispatch from Jarmusch land. And that review, too, is from the New York Times. And finally, our third streaming recommendation is a brand new release coming out today. It's called The Tribes of Europa. It's a new Netflix TV series. If it's a dystopian sci-fi epic you're craving, Netflix pretty much always has you covered. And the latest apocalyptic adventure is Tribes of Europa. From the producers of the Netflix hit Dark, Tribes of Europa takes place in a future set decades after some mystery event made technology go crazy, introducing us to a new society where the new micro-societies war for dominance. The fairly wild first trailer revealed a cheeky meets grim take on the dystopian sci-fi genre that looks like an action-packed Dark meets The 100 hybrid, with all the leather-clad woodsy warriors, fighting pits, and mysterious floating cubes your heart could desire. And that's from the Collider review. And moving on to our Hoopla recommendation of the week. This week I'm going to recommend an album. It's an album from the great Sonny Rollins. First came out in 1957. It's called Way Out West. You see the song list on the right side of the page, and if you want to check out some solid jazz this weekend, check out this album. And on to our odd duck recommendation of the week. This week I came across an article on the Mashable site. It's actually from last May, but it talks about the 17 best documentaries on YouTube to entertain and teach you. And it has a solid list of titles, and some of them are free. So I'm going to recommend 4 of the titles that are free. The rest of them you can rent through YouTube. So the first recommendation is the first one on the Mashable list, too. It's called The 13th. It's an Academy Award nominated documentary feature that examines systemic racism and the persistent horror of slavery in the United States with thorough, detailed, and astounding reporting. And I'm not going to read the entire bit there because we'll be here all day, and I don't want to have a 50-minute video cast because nobody will watch it. So the second recommendation is the second one on their list too. Actually, these are the top 4 titles on the Mashable list. The documentary is called The White Helmets. It's the winner of Best Documentary Short Subject at the 89th Academy Awards. The White Helmets offers a wrenching look at rescue workers in Aleppo, Syria, and Turkey fighting to save citizens affected by war. The third title is With Great Power, the Stan Lee story. For those missing the late Marvel Comics creator, With Great Power, the Stan Lee story offers an inviting banquet of appreciation. Centered on Lee's multi-decade career and unceasing desire to enchant the world through super stories, director Hess's delightful portrait includes interviews with comic fans, Kevin Smith, Seth Rogen, Patrick Stewart, Eva Menendez, Samuel L. Jackson, and of course Lee himself. And our fourth recommendation on this list is available through Netflix and also free on YouTube right now. It's called Our Planet. It's the David Attenborough documentary. And I found that if you type in Our Planet Official HD Netflix into the YouTube search box, you'll come up with the official trailer, and then on the right side of the page it will show you the individual episodes that you can click on to watch. And that's our odd duck for the week. Have questions about this weekly videocast? Let me know. Send an email to me at reimerl@stls.org and I'll get back to you. Again, that's reimerl@stls.org. And you can also call the library. Currently, library hours are Mondays and Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and we're closed to the public on Wednesdays and Sundays, although Wednesday is a day for students to come to the library, and they have to arrange that through their teachers. And that is the end of the new Library Connections content for this week. What follows are a few helpful informational tidbits. The tidbits include directions as to where you can connect with the library online via our website, catalogs, blogs, and social media pages. Links to articles used to create this week's video, otherwise known as references, in case you'd like to check them out for more information, and the library's contact information. The library's website, which is found at ssclibrary.org, and of course this is the Southeast Steuben County Library's website. On our website you can access the calendar page and see what's going on. Most of our programs are virtual right now, but we do have a number of things happening. You can access our catalogs, click the Make Appointment link to arrange for curbside pickup or to use a computer. The library's appointments page is found, as I said, on the library's website at ssclibrary.org. It's the purple link that says Make an Appointment located near the top of the page, and you can just click on that and then select whether you wish to make an appointment to use a public computer during library hours of operation or to make a curbside pickup appointment. Those are available at select times. StarCat and the BookMine app. StarCat is the catalog of physical library materials, print books, large print books, DVDs, music compact discs, audiobooks on CD, all that kind of stuff. And it is found online at starcat.stls.org. It does have a companion app, so if you'd like to download the BookMine app, I don't know why they didn't just call it the StarCat app, but it's called BookMine. You can download it to your mobile device and then access StarCat through the app. The digital catalog with companion apps Libby and Overdrive. And I should note here what I'm talking about, the digital catalog and StarCat, they are available for all Southern Tier Library System member library card holders. Try saying that 10 times fast. In other words, if you have a library card for a public library in Steuben, Chemung, Yates, Schuyler, or Allegheny counties in New York State, you can access content through the digital catalog. You can use StarCat. The digital catalog's web version is found at stls.overdrive.com, and there are two apps associated with it, Libby, which is for newer devices, and Overdrive, which is for older devices and Kindle tablets. Hoopla. The Hoopla catalog features eBooks, comic books, downloadable audiobooks, and streaming videos, including both TV shows and movies. All Hoopla items are available for Southeast Steuben County library card holders to instantly check out. In other words, there are no holds. If you see it in the Hoopla catalog, you can instantly access it. Now, there is a limit of 6 items per month, and that's because this particular model in library land is called a pay-for-circ model. It means each time a patron checks out an item through the Hoopla catalog, our library has to pay for it, or pay a charge for it. It's not the full price of the item, but there is a charge. So that's why there's a 6-item checkout limit per month. But there's some great stuff in the Hoopla catalog if you're stuck at home. There's even the app you see to the right that's available for smart TVs too, so feel free to stream some British mysteries or, suspense movies, whatever you like. The library blogs full of fun content, and indeed they are. I urge you to check them out. We have a book club for adults as compared to children or young adults. We have monthly meetings right now via Zoom. You can find out more at ssclbook.club. We have a local history blog, CorningNYHistory.com. Creation Stationery, the complementary blog to our makerspace, found at creationstationery.com. Story Musings, a SSCL blog hosted by the library's resident author and head of adult services, Michelle Wells, which is found at storymusings.blogspot.com, and Tech and Book Talk, which is found at sscltech.com and features readers, viewers, and listeners' advisory postings with occasionally a helpful how to use personal technology tip thrown in. If you have questions about library services during the pandemic or want to make an appointment for curbside pickup, you are welcome to go the traditional route and simply give us a call. The library's telephone number is area code 607-936-3713. Social media. You can connect with the library, read library news, and post questions to the library via social media. The library has pages on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. In relation, each video in this series is available on demand via the library's YouTube channel after it has first been shown on Facebook Live. And the videos are also sent link-wise through email if you sign up for the Tech Talk blog. That's on Mondays. And here is our weekly list of references. And that's the program for this week. I'll be back next week with a new edition of Library Connections. Have a great day.